All right, welcome to Dean Bodie Show. Dean Bodie Show. How's everybody doing out there? Remember, Dean Bodie Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, on all the main platforms. Dean Bodie Show, DEANBODI space show is our YouTube channel, deanbodi.com. We got the links on there. You can go to the website and then click on the link for the podcast. It'll blast you over. And you can click on the social. You'll see the YouTube little symbol there with the arrow. And that'll blast you over to the YouTube channel. Forth and back and forth, right? Why? It must be the gypsy in their soul. They have a need to rock and roll. They always will. They're out there still. They're the night owls. Little sing-along, Little River Band again. It's in me. Sometimes you get a band, you go back in time, it tickles you, and you blast away at it until the song just, you wear it out like we used to. It's incredible. So I was thinking back today on, going way back to Kendall, 8, 9 years old, and the kid down the street, way on the end of the street with a giant German Shepherd that used to scare me. Let's just call him Jay. And we used to sing Rockin Robin, like from the Jackson 5, you know? All the little birdies on Jaybird Street come to hear the robin go tweet, 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 Rockin Robin, tweet, 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 Rockin Robin. And this kid had the pipes, and he would nail Michael Jackson's voice, to the T. Hey, listen, when we're younger, before all the stress and all the years and all of the Cheetos and Bubblicious that you eat your whole life, and the throat wears out from all the arguing with people, etc. And the lifestyles that we live, the younger pipes, wow, do they sound a lot better, don't they? Maybe that's why the chorus, I said on the previous episode, she wanted me to do the solo. She saw potential. Man, I'm so mad I chickened out on that. If I could go back in time, I would have blasted out whatever song that she wanted me to sing, because that music teacher was awesome. Oh, shout out to you. I forget your name. Oh, man, 8th grade, Arvida Junior High School. You really lit up the day. I look forward to going to that class. Man, I tell you, those were the classes that you really liked. Not hammering away at, algebra and all this stuff. Dr. D dropping knowledge. Hey, Millie, Dr. D's about to drop some knowledge. He is? Yeah, okay. I want to talk about science for a little bit. You know, X plus Y equals Z, and when it's duplicable and repeatable, that's science. But when you give somebody, let's say you give them an aspirin, okay? Newsflash, not everybody's headache is going to go away. Some people have esophageal bleeding. Some people's blood gets too thin and they stroke. They get a stroke. Why? Because blood carries oxygen to the brain, and when you thin it out, it doesn't do what it needs to do sometimes. So sometimes the headache does go away, but because it's so not cookie cutter, it's not science. Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own functioning bodies. So be careful with that kind of thing. All right? X plus Y doesn't always equal Z. Sometimes it does. You take a shot, you take here and there. Watch the over-the-counter stuff. Don't abuse it. And go easy. Get through your crisis with your MD. And once the crisis is over, open up the dialogue for natural stuff. The most powerful drug in the world, as we always say on the Dean Bodie, begins with an F and ends with a D. Boom! Food. Then you supplement the food with a good whole food multi-mineral. And ask some questions. Ask the health food guy at the health food store if you don't know. What's the best one you got? Whole food vitamin multi-mineral. And he'll get you there. You know? And just, a lot of times less is more. When you got the food dialed in, less is definitely more. When you're all over the place with the food, more doesn't even necessarily help. You're just kind of going at it head to head and just canceling each other out. Got it? All right. So look, a shout out to my nephew Logan. Just got his first car, a red Challenger. Beautiful. And it's making me think about when I had my first car. Are we going down that road? Oh, yeah, we're going down that road. Here, check this out. 1971 Le Mans Sport. Emphasis on the sport because it had the large 350 engine with the large 2-barrel. I know it wasn't the Holley quadruple double pumper, whatever, but It was the Holly big one. Holly large 2-barrel. You don't see those every day on the Le Mans Sport. It was this close to being a GTO, right? You had the Le Mans Sport, and then the GOAT. The GOAT's probably my favorite car back into the late 60s. Oh, man, one of these days maybe we'll have one of those again. Or who knows, maybe we'll hunt down another Le Mans Sport just for nostalgia and get it all dialed in. That's on the bucket list. So I got this car, $600. It was a cream puff. Now you got your categories. You got the cream puffs and you got your lemons. Lemons have all kinds of problems. Cream puff, thank you for taking care of this car for the last 30 years in the garage. Wow, what a deal. Man, when you find one like that, and I got lucky. So it was blue, a beautiful blue, by the way, but it had this weird alligator skin vinyl roof, but it had the white bucket seats and the white interior with the little column in the middle. This thing was smoking, man. And when you talk about going back to your first car, how exciting is that? Talk about a game changer, life changer, coming of age changer. That's the main one right there. Now you got freedom. Now you're in the zone, and you get to pull into the parking lot at high school with all the rest of the hot rods back in the day, as we did. So before I took my driving test, man, I studied for that driving test like nobody's business. And I got 100% on the test. There was no way I was going to get anything wrong on that. I was so fired up. I studied that thing forwards and backwards and backwards and forwards, like we say on the deanbodi, and crushed it. And to pass the driving test with flying colors, I remember taking my stepfather's car at the time because you had to do the parallel parking. In Florida, we don't do a lot of parallel parking like you do in New York and things like that. So to take the test, and so you get a good grade and you want to get through it, knowing that you're not going to need it very much in Florida, take the small car to the test. Zip, zip, boom, and you're in there. Passed the test, and then I went into my Le Mans that was waiting for me to get my license so I could drive it out of the neighborhood because I kept it parked at the clubhouse, and I think I slept in it until I took the test. But having the car waiting for me right there, bought and paid for, was unbelievable. I would go into that car and get the owner's manual out and just read it and play around with the blinkers and the switches and put the left blinker on and get outside and go to the front and back, making sure everything was working and everything, put the hazard lights on and all these things. It was incredible learning about the car and all that stuff and having it waiting for you. So I get the car, we pass the test. Now, oh man, now we're going into the first day of picking your friend up to go to school. What a day! So I get there and I'm like, let's just call him Roy. And I go pick him up. I remember this like it was yesterday. Pulling up to his house, not into the driveway. I just stayed right on the road, had my arm kind of hanging out the side like I was Big Shot, right? Because I had my car before he did. Honk, honk. He comes out. The smile must have been that big. Must have been that big because he was coming in. He sits in the passenger side. I look at him. He looks at me like we have arrived. And off we went for the first time solo driving to school. You get your own parking space, the whole thing, man. And wow, I'm getting all choked up just thinking about it. But I just wanted to share that with you. Going back, it took me down that road. And wow. And remember the science when it comes to the over-counter meds and all that stuff. Dr. Dean dropping knowledge that X plus Y doesn't always equal Z. And you're not the same person today as you were yesterday when you make lifestyle changes. I got news for you. And if you do decide to make a lifestyle change, which I encourage you to do, as your body starts to feel different and you're healing, going through the healing process, talk to your doctor. Maybe you don't need to be on something anymore. It could be acid reflux med. Maybe you can toss it. Maybe you can get rid of your gout medication. Maybe all the other numbers that you look at with the labs, and you talk about it and start to adjust things as your body changes. Because that's what's going on. You can't just stick with the same thing all the time when you make changes in your lifestyle. People don't realize the power of the food, how much your body responds to that. So, get it dialed in, keep the good communication going, put the good team around you with whatever doctors that you have, and keep an eye on yourself. Got to keep your immune system strong these days, right? So another exciting news flash. We got the 800 number dialed in for the Dean Bodi. It's not in place just yet, but I just want to make sure. I got to talk to the company. I got to upload it to the thing. But Lucy finally said Bodi, not body on the message, but she did leave one item out. That's the funny thing that I put into the script, but it is still good right now. I'm not going to tell you what that item is, okay? Because when we get the number up, not only do I want you to share your personal story or your personal sing-along song, right? And so we can share you and make your, or even a question, and put it on there, and you'll be the feature on the show. And that's how we're going to do it. It's going to be fun. You're going to be the feature on the show, on the Dean Bodi Show. All right? And you go by first name, this and that. We'll keep it, on the down low and all that stuff. But we're going to share. And this way, you're going to see us how we do this kind of crossfire hurricane. Back and forth. Your memories, our memories over here, and people are going to start ping-ponging off of one another, and we're going to go down this journey together on the Dean Bodi Show. Okay? So when that gets set up, it's going to be great. And there's also the one missing part. If you can guess what the missing part is, and I'll give you a little bit of a hint, wink, wink. It's on the website, the actual words that I wanted in there. And you know what? I did put it in the script, by the way. Hold on a second. It was in the script. It was in the script and it wasn't put on there, but you'll see it on the website, the actual words. If you can guess what that is, I don't know. We're going to have to do something special for that person. So we're going to have some fun. Look, the numbers are going up on the podcast. The numbers are going up on the subscribers on the YouTube channel. I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart, Dean Bodi's heart. And let me tell you, Bodi, good girl, Bodi, good girl, Bodi. She's the best girl in the world. Ho! She's a good girl, Bodi. She's the best girl in the world. She's the good girl, Bodi. She's the best girl in the world. Hey! The best! We both thank you from the bottom of our hearts as we're going at a nice organic pace. This is how we do it. Come on, join the Dean Bodi life, the experience. Wait till we start making the connections and the calls start coming. It's going to be wild. And I promise you, we're going to keep it fun and keep it not always just diving into, watch not too much news. Don't bathe in it all the time because it's going to mess with your head. The COVID schmovid, the pandemic schmandemic, little bites, little nibbles. Okay, it's going on. The world is going through a healing process and we're going to come out of this bigger, better, and stronger. I just know it. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Stay on track. Subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Give it a 5-star rating. Give it a nice review. Okay? Click the little bell on the YouTube so you get the reminders. You don't want to miss any of these shows. Too much fun we're having over here, Dean Bodi. Subscribe. Like. We got this. Listen, you have an awesome day. Remember, take yourself. I hope I took you back to when you got your first car and all of those memories, man. Let's start talking and start pushing those buttons. Start thinking about the music you were listening to in your car at that time. I'm going back to when we had the 8-track tape player in the car. Oh, I got to talk about this now. Here we go. This 8-track tape player weighed about 15, 20 pounds. This big underneath the dashboard. Shout out to my brother-in-law. Let's call him Bobby. Oh, and Christopher, I miss you guys. Big time. And he installed the stereo into my Le Mans with the round speakers, right, into the door, and the huge 8-track tape deck. This thing was a monster underneath the dash. And the funny thing is, it played the music just a little too fast. I don't know what happened. The thing wasn't working. We decided to go... Bobby had the brains. He was very tinkery. He could fix anything under the sun, period. So We go to Radio Shack, as the story goes. We take the 8-track tape player apart, and there's a little band in there that was worn out. We went, we got a new band, put the band on, which was tighter. It wasn't worn out. Now it's too tight, and it made it play a little bit too quickly. So, I was listening to my Boston 8-tracks and my Molly Hatchet and my Leonard Skinner, and I'm playing a little too fast, but that's the way it goes when you get your first car. All those little kind of weird things that only you know about. That's that personal connection you have with your vehicle. It's just, that's the fun part. And as you go through life until you get your next one. So anyway, have an awesome day today. We're going to see you next time in the Dean Bodi Show podcast. And remember, we're doing the short videos early in the day as a little teaser, so you'll see the -1 for the part 1. And then when we do this one, what we're doing now, the Dean Bodi Show podcast, which is the longer one, and this gets onto both platforms. The video, of course, the YouTube, which will be the -2, which goes with the teaser, and then we'll also be on the platform for the podcast. So you can just digest this thing however you like. Audio, whatever, lie in bed with the lights off and listen to the Dean Bodi Show and have a few laughs. All right? Have an awesome day. We will see you tomorrow. deanbodi.com. Have a good one.